Good evening. The Hooves today were on at Randwick, raced on the inside track, the Kensington track, and the rail was 3 metres out. The track was dead, as I say, and there was a steady breeze first race and the second race and the third race, but it's gradually eased off to be virtually nil by the last race 8, and it was swirling from the nor'easter to more or less an easterly wind, running into it down the straight. The wind had no effect on any results today, but the track determined, I suppose, a few winners. The inside section of the track before the turn and on the turn, and it looked as if it was in the straight as well. Anywhere near the fence was no good. They after the first race, which there were only 4 runners, they kept on getting wider as the day went on. The first race was won by the Avery, Moriarty. Waller had 2 runners in the race, and he had the favourite Moriarty, who sat in behind his stablemate, excuse me, Tropicana Girl, who led. When they turned for home, he was able to get a split in between Bray Rowan, who was sitting on the outside of the leader. Many Stars, the other runner, it was in 4th hole, and it was too good. Moriarty went on and won by a length and a quarter. In the marketplace, there was on the screen 106%. In the marketplace, we'll add them up. $10. Bray Rowan never had a price. $6 out to $10. $1.70 out to $1.85, back to $1.80 Moriarty, or it might have started $1.85. $5 given early, Tropicana Girl into $4 taken, and Many Stars went from $4.60 out to $6, only about 100. And the favourite got the cash. The captains were down after the first race. Second race, 102.5 on the screen, a lot less in the marketplace, 96. And to boot, the winner, it was the best back runner in the race. It firmed from $8. I'm talking about Exclusive Lad. There were only 6 runners in this race. Exclusive Lad was $8 into $5. They took the 550, all the 550 that was available in the last 30 seconds of betting. Our Canny Boy wouldn't appear on the fluck screen. 235, I think, was the best fluck, but it was $2.50 in the ring, and it did start only $2.40, but as I say, $2.50 was bet. Bad Kitty, number 3, it was $12 out to 15. General Sherman, it's very hard to lay, $2.80 out to 3.30. The next one was scratched. It went from 20 out to 60, back into 50 Cajun Waltz, and the bottom one, Dream Diva, was $13 out to $16. Under the 100, about 96 or so, and the runner, as I say, that was well backed by the pros, it sat in behind the pace, and it was ridden by Horseman Bowman, and he got a split halfway up the straight. He wasn't really held up. He was just waiting for it to come, kept right on the heels, and pressuring for the opening. And when it came, he was able to squeeze through close to the line and win by 0.2 of a length. He beat General Sherman, who was on his outside, came widest in the straight, General Sherman, and beat Our Canny Boy, I should say, who sat on his outside, and it came widest in the straight. And General Sherman, who sat 3 wide outside the leaders, who were Bad Kitty led on the fence, getting up on the inside of it, Cajun Waltz, and General Sherman on his outside. They 0.2 by 0.4 of a length were the margins when they hit the line. Not much between them, but the one that they backed, it got the cash. Race 3, and this was a result, even though, but although it was backed, the winner Recoinage, it went straight to the lead, trained by John Thompson for Paternack, ridden by James McDonald. It was taken straight to the lead, and coming to the turn, he was a good 4 or 5 off the fence, and he held his position, turning for home. When they topped the rise, he got clear, and he was always going to be hard to run down, and he finished up winning by 1.3 of a length from the very well-backed favourite Vaquira, who went up $2.10, and only started $1.85. It was laid on. It was back to the 10 to 9 taken and the evens, and the 10 to 9 on laid on. Started $1.85, as I say. Sat in between runners in about 4th, 5th hole, and when it did get clear, topping the rise, for 1 or 2 strides, if you run it, you were hoping that it might have been able to go out and catch the leader, but it was never going to. And as I say, it got beat 1.3 lengths. In the marketplace, it said, on the screen, I should say, 101.6. It was less than that. It was under the 100 in the ring. And one of the reasons, I suppose, the favourite firmed so much is that the second pick, Windbender, it didn't have a name. It opened up $2.80, clear second favourite. It did start second favourite, but went from $2.80 out to $4.30. It didn't have a price. And interestingly, I think even Horseman Bowman might agree that he pulled the wrong rein when he was coming down the side. There was one runner in this field of 7 that was trapped wide. That was Silver Tiara, midfield out wide, and he had the opportunity. He was running last at the time, Horseman Bowman. Love Affair, he was looking at it. I thought he pulled the wrong rein by going inside it, turning for home, instead of getting to the outside of it, and he would have got onto the back of the horse who was 3 wide. It's a big, strong thing. I think it would have wound up down the outside and finished closer. It finished up running 3rd, beaten 2.8 lengths, and they were 5 and 6 off the fence, as I say, all the way down the straight. And he happened to run into the back of Kim Dynasty, who was tailing the leader halfway up the straight and lost its momentum. It got going again to finish in front of that horse, beaten 2.8. Anyway, that was that. Oh, the winner. Well, the winner, it was back. It went up $13, got out to as much as $15 given recoinage, and it only started $12, hard to get. Was found. Race 4, this was won by the best backed runner all day, and it got the cash. I'm talking about Complicate. It was poleaxed. It was $4.60 into $3.20, hard to get, Complicate, and it was given a good ride by Karen McAvoy in 3rd position. And when they turned for home, leading in the race was the opening favourite, King Cobia, who went up $3, but got out to $3.50 fairly quickly, taken back into $3.20. I even laid it at $3 at one stage, but it did start $3.70, King Cobia, and it ran. As I say, it led and it held on and ran second, beaten at 2 lengths. Other runners in the market were 8 Straight. It was the well, it more or less started equal second favourite with King Cobia. Might have been a little bit longer, could have been 3.83. The other one 3.70, but 8 Straight. It went up second pick at 5 to 2, and it got to $4.20 at one stage of the betting. Hard to get, but it was there on the fence, and only started $3.80, and it settled well back in last position, and it came right down the outside, but could only get into 4th hole, beaten about 3 lengths. It was resuming from a spell today, but as I say, the winner, it was extremely well backed. Started favourite, went up $4, got out to $4.60, $4.40, easy to get, but it was just solidly backed all the way through the running and betting, and especially in the last few minutes when it was bookies were already standing it, and it was $3.80 into $3.20, hard to get at the death. As I say, the other runners all got out in the market. Medusa's Miss, it started 4th pick. It only went up $5, but it got out to 10 and ran accordingly. Race 5, on the screen, there was 105.5 in the marketplace, just under the 100, in 99 we gave. And This was won by the Avery Stinsky, and very similar to the way that the leader was ridden, King Cobia, but this one held on. Stinsky was taken straight to the lead and made a little bit of use getting to the lead. Didn't have the blinkers on today and had to run out the 1400. Had a tongue tie on, and it went up $3, but was quickly reached for by the captains out to $3. I think 70 at least, 370. You might have even seen 380, but it was taken, and the $3.50 was taken, and 60 and the 40. Only started $3.20 Stinsky, and as I say, led and very similar. Father Schofield steering. He didn't go anywhere near the fence. When he hit the first bend, he might have been only 2 off, but then coming down the side, just gradually got off, and by the time he turned for home, he was a good 4 or 5 off the fence. And sitting on his outside was Wondergal, and it dropped off. And on Wondergal's back was Laura Tech, who eased off its heels and went out after the favourite, and only went down by half a length, and making up plenty of ground from last, going in between runners, nowhere near the fence, but in between runners up the straight was a 40 to 1 chance, 80 to 1 given. I'm talking about Paramount Pete, 80 to 1 given. Only started 40s and made up plenty of ground, and only got beat 0.8 of a length. Wasn't a bad run. There were runners in this race that were very hard to lay. Who's Paying number 2 went from $9 out to 13. Shanian, the import horse, it went from $4, a 3 to 1 chance out to 11. Obviously wasn't fancied, and it did run last, beaten 7.4 lengths, had every chance. Crystal Miss was 650 when they jumped. It had its chance, opened up 550, got to 650. Future Shock, even though it was well in the market, $4.80 was given, opened up $4.40, got out to 480, back into 460, and it was fairly hard to lay, although I got something out of it. Are You Sure? Well, it was Laura Tech, bet 30 to 1 Laura Tech. That was taken, only started $20, 20 to 1. Are You Sure? Always firm in the market, even though it got out from its opening quote from $12 out to 13. Wonder Gal, similar, about $12 out to 13, and the bottom one, as I say, firmed. Wasn't much good, only 99, and the favourite got the cash. It was another losing race for the captains. The next race, race 6, there was 106.7 on the screen, but in the marketplace only 98%. And they went across the line, and the margins were 0.1, and those by more or less a head. And it was a deceptive finish. When they hit the line, the course announcer, Mark Sheen, even Mark would admit where he's positioned. The further you are away and up nice and high, the horses seem to be going in slow motion. And when they get down to the line, Mark's a great caller, but it's a lot fairly easier to pick than you think, and he picked it right. He said, I think Merlin Mustang has bobbed, and it took a long time for the photo finish to go up. It beat the favourite by whatever it beat it by, and I'm talking about Monsieur, and in running third was in this race was Oh My Papa, and the second and third horses were very well backed, whereas the winner, it was firm in the market, but it would have been a result for the captains. Bay Window, it went out and led and set a fast pace, and I suppose it held on all right. It ran about sixth, and Geridian, well, it was always from barrier 1 trying to get through behind them from that position. They raced well off the fence, as I say. Bay Window, it did the same. By the time it got to the turn, it was well off the fence. And Monsieur, it came from back in the field, coming down the outside. And I think, I haven't had a really good look at this, Merlin Mustang, it wasn't too far away from the lead. But anyway, it got through and stuck its nose out. It went from $8 out to $10, Merlin Mustang, and never got past that. $8 out to $10, always very firm in the market, where Monsieur, I gave $4, and I don't think it plucked that price. It was $3.50 out to $4, back into 350 at one stage, back out to 370. Other runners in the market were Geridian. It was very hard to lay. I didn't strike it for a blow. The figures were no good. They did give as much as $6, went up $4.40, got to $6, back into $5.50. Couldn't give the $6 because there was no percentage there. And Big Time never had a price either. It was $10 out to 13. And as I said, Oh My Papa, similarly to Monsieur, it was well backed from $10, $8 out to, or $9 out to $10, back into $7.50. And either the favourite or Oh My Papa, I think they would have been a lot worse than the winner for most captains. Race 7, there was 107.5 on the screen, but only a good 10 less in the marketplace, with some runners just not having a price. There's only about 97, maybe 98, but around about 97, 98 in the marketplace. For instance, of the fluctuations that I saw, Midnight Mix, it went up $8 and was taken. It did start 7, was into 650 at one stage, but started $7. The next runner didn't have a name, Dream With Me. It went from $11 out to 17. Westchester, it was very well backed, $4.60 it went up, and it was taken straight away into $4, and the $4 was taken out. He started 3.7. Avarelli didn't have a price, $17 to 31. Urban Rocker, it was backed about $12 to 15, back into 12. The next runner was back late, XL Equa. It went up $6 or $5.50, got out to $7, taken at the death into 650, hard to get. Lightens, they took opened up 16, got out to 19, back into 17. Mossy Diva, the winner, I didn't see $31. It was $21 firm for a long time. Got to 26 late in the betting, and you see that its winning pattern, it was very similar to when it was brought here by David Hayes last start. Resumed from a spell just off my memory, and then had quite a few days off, about close to a month off. And similarly, this prep must be, the horse could have problems, I don't know, but it had a long time off, and then it was resumed at Morfordville, ran last, and it was brought here today, as I say, similarly when it won at Warwick Farm. And the day it did win at Warwick Farm, I scratched my head how I priced them that day, and I know it sounds embarrassing. It made me think about it today. When it won at Warwick Farm, I said, well, it's the only way I do it. I did put odds on. I said, if you run this race again at Warwick Farm that day when it did one, repeating myself, I said the right price could be close to 10 to 9 on. It was most probably rubbish. It was a very hard race to price, but it won, in my opinion, like a 10 to 9. Forgetting about the SPs, if you want to start pricing horses and bringing the SPs into it, you're only cheating on yourself. But today, as I say, the similar, it was got to $26, and it was a result for captains. It sat outside the leader, who was its girl, the maiden winner, stepping up, did a fantastic job. The maiden winner from Wyong, and it led with the winner Mossy Diva on its outside, and sitting in behind them was Star of Helicon, who is, as I think I might have mentioned last time, it seems to be very light at the moment. It might race well that way. It had barrier 1, and it would be straight behind the leader on the fence. And when they got to the turn, this winner, this leader, its girl, being steered by Bowman, of course, started to get off the get towards the east, towards the middle of the track, and unfortunately, Star of Helicon had nowhere to go, and Bowman said, "Come into my parlour," said the Spider to the Fly, and Star of Helicon had to come inside it. It was very hard there to do today. He'd come on the outside of horses and women, not up on the inside of them, even though they were well off the fence. Star of Helicon hit the lead, but it found wanting the last bit, but it only got beat under a length, 0.9, running fourth. And they got down to the line, and this Mossy Diva was able to edge out the leader on the line, its girl, and coming from midfield from sixth position, one off the back, one off the fence, even though they were wide, was Dream With Me, the runner that got well out in the market. And the margins were 0.3 by 0.6, and it ran fourth, as I say, Star of Helican, just under that length away. It was a very good result for the captains. And we came to the last, and this was another result for the captains, I must admit. Talking about D. Bell, who got into a lovely position in the race. Leading was just a bit well off the fence and finish up dropping right out. It mightn't have come back a gister. It led with on its, or tailing it and then getting to its outside from barrier 1 before the turn was Oakfield Commands, and sitting 3 wide was High Gashi outside those pair on the turn, and they had run along, getting a lovely suck up behind it. Was the winner, D. Bell, and he got to the outside of those runners turning for home. And I was about to say, surprisingly, it's funny, this horse, Rumour and Scandal, it has got blistering speed if needed, but they've been riding it from behind, and it was eased out to second last position at one stage by Horseman Bowman, a long way from the lead. The second, it was running second last, and last in the race was the resuming O'Kane. And when they turned for home, Bowman came widest, and down the outside. There was a protest in this race. They bumped at about the 100-metre mark, or a little bit inside that, and I always thought it was going to be dismissed. Everyone has an opinion in protests, but I didn't think it was enough for it to be upheld. And the winner, O'Kane, it got to the lead. Didn't get to the lead until sort of 50 metres to go. Holding on very well was Oakfield Commands. He struggled to get past it all the way up the straight, but did right on the line. And coming down the outside was Rumour and Scandal, as I say, made up a lot of ground, and they came together at one stage in the straight. And Bowman threw in a protest, but it was dismissed. The margins were only 0.1 by 0.3 of a length, with, as I said, Oakfield Commands running third. The horse who ran fifth in the race, Huey, it was held up and lost all of its momentum. Nitro, number 10, it was when Huey went around it, he couldn't quicken Nitro quick enough, and Huey put him in the zip faster, and it lost all of its momentum, and it got going again, and it only got beat about 1.8 lengths. Its run wasn't bad. In the marketplace, there was only 102.3, and in the on the screen, I keep on saying the marketplace, on the screen for the robots who had plenty of customers inside there today, I must admit. I'll tell you about that in a minute. 102.3 on the screen, but in the marketplace there was unfortunately under the 100. Just very quickly, the fluctuations. Agista went from $9 out to $11. Oakfield Commands, like a fool, I gave $4.60. It was into $3.60 at one stage, but it got out to $4.20 late in betting. Circle of Power went from 17 to 31. Rumour and Scandal was hard to lay, went from 350 to 460. O'Kane never had a name, 14 or $13, 12 to 1 out to $41. D. Bell, it was backed. Went up 15, got to 18, back into 17. If you gave $18, you could lay it. Millennium Ruler, well back, 750 out to 10, back into 850, back out to $9. MacArthur Bull, very well backed. It came from second last in between runners. It finished up running fourth. MacArthur Bull only got beat 1.1 lengths, but it had to go not right on the inside, but in between runners. So its run was a bit better than it looked. It went from $5 out to $7, back into $5.50. Nitro went from $8 out to 14, back into 12, and High Gashi never had a price, from 31 out to 61. Doesn't sound any good to me, but the captains were able to get a split. And as I say, today we were positioned in a tent, the tent playing Cowboys and Indians with the 15 regulars that get there every meeting. And I did go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times to wash my hands and also, as I say, go to the bathroom. But during the day, and lo and behold, over there in the members section there was a jolly good crowd. Only a couple of robot bookies offering the teleprinter prices. They're very well trained. The punters in Sydney, the screen prices, you bet off those. You don't walk 30 yards across the road and see what's being offered in the marketplace. It'll never ever change, but I hope one day it changes where all bookies are in the marketplace together and there are no robot bookies offering teleprinter prices around the course anywhere in Sydney. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, but that's what should happen. Anyway, we'll see you during the week. Good evening.